Welcome to this deep dive. And today we're going to be looking at A Tale of Two Cities.
Oh, A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah, it's that epic novel by Charles Dickens, and you've shared some excerpts from the book itself. So we're going to use those to really kind of uncover the hidden layers,
Okay.
the characters, the themes, even the historical context that makes this book so powerful.
Right.
Just imagine, it's 1775. Tension is brewing between England and France.
Yeah.
Whispers of revolution are in the air.
And Dickens really throws us right into that atmosphere in the very first chapter. I mean, we're on this dark, misty road in England. The Dover Mail coach is struggling up Shooter's Hill, and all the passengers are just bundled up, suspicious of each other,
Right.
afraid of highwaymen.
Oh, wow.
Dickens uses this setting to create that sense of foreboding, like something big is about to happen.
It definitely sets the tone.
Oh, it does.
And this whole feeling of secrecy, of hidden identities, it runs throughout the entire book, doesn't it?
It does.
There's that line, every human creature is constituted to be that profound secret and mystery to every other. It makes you wonder, what secrets are these characters hiding?
Right.
And how will those secrets shape their destinies?
It's a question that Dickens wants us to ask about ourselves as well.
Ooh.
I mean, think about it. Do we all have secrets that could recall us to life?
Wow.
In unexpected ways,
That's such a thought-provoking idea.
It is.
It's like, those long-forgotten memories or those events that can suddenly resurface and, influence our decisions.
Precisely. And that brings us to Mr. Lorry,
Okay.
this man of business from Tellson's Bank.
Mm.
He's on this cryptic mission to bring a young woman named Lucy Manette back to life, or, as he puts it, to recall her from the grave of her past.
I've always been struck by that phrase, recalled to life.
Yeah.
It just seems to have multiple layers of meaning.
It does.
It's not just about Lucy, physically returning to a place that she once knew, but it's about her confronting her past and how that past is shaping her present.
Precisely. And that theme of resurrection.
Oh, wow.
Of coming back to life, it weaves itself through the entire story.
Right.
Like, take, for example, Lucy's emotional reunion with her father.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Manette.
Yes, after he's been imprisoned in the Bastille for 18 years.
That scene is heartbreaking.
Oh, it is.
She touches his hand and he recoils as if he's been burned.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful depiction of how trauma can linger,
Right.
how it can impact a person's ability to connect with others.
And you see, Dr. Manette, he's in this deteriorated state. He's fixated on shoemaking
Right.
as a coping mechanism for his trauma.
Yeah. Dickens describes his voice like a once beautiful color faded away into a poor, weak stain.
It's a powerful image.
It is.
And it shows us the lasting impact of trauma.
It makes you wonder, what would it take for Dr. Manette to truly feel recalled to life?
Right.
To heal from those deep wounds?
Yeah. That's a question that lingers throughout the story.
It does.
But then we're whisked away to a whole other world.
Oh, okay.
The Defarge's wine shop in Saint Antoine, the heart of revolutionary Paris.
Yeah.
Dickens paints this vivid picture, spilled wine staining the cobblestones,
Okay.
symbolizing the blood that will soon be shed.
Wow.
And Madame Defarge,
Yes.
always knitting,
Right.
almost like she's weaving the very fabric of the revolution with every stitch.
I've always thought Madame Defarge.
Oh, she's...
Such a fascinating character.
She is.
On the surface, she's just a shopkeeper. But there's this underlying sense of power and determination about her.
Some critics even argue that her knitting symbolizes something more sinister.
Oh.
Perhaps a list of those she deems enemies of the revolution.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that perspective?
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
It certainly adds another layer to her character.
Right.
She's clearly not just a passive observer.
No.
She's actively involved in shaping the events around her.
Absolutely. And then we're introduced to Charles Darnay, this young Frenchman who's accused of treason in England.
Right.
And it's in the courtroom scene that the lives of Lucy, Dr. Manette, and Darnay become intertwined.
Oh, wow.
Setting the stage for all the drama that unfolds.
It's fascinating how Dickens uses the trial to highlight not just the legal drama, but also the complexities of the characters' relationships.
Exactly. But there's another key player we need to consider.
Okay.
Sidney Carton.
Yes. Sidney Carton.
He's such a complex figure.
He is.
Brilliant, but cynical, and clearly capable of deep love, especially for Lucy.
Yeah, I've always wondered about Carton's motivations. What do you think Dickens is trying to convey through this character who seems to be both drawn to and repelled by goodness?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think Carton represents that internal struggle between cynicism and hope that many of us experience. His unrequited love for Lucy is like a flicker of humanity in his otherwise jaded existence.
And speaking of contrast, Dickens does an incredible job portraying the square for social inequalities
he does.
of the time.
He does.
You know, you have the lavish world of the French aristocracy juxtaposed with the grinding poverty of the people in Saint Antoine.
It's a world of extremes.
It is.
Where the seeds of revolution are sown.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Dickens is making a powerful statement.
He is.
About the need for change.
Absolutely.
He's showing us how the French Revolution, with all its chaos and violence, is presented as an inevitable consequence of the deep-seated injustices of the time.
It's like he's saying, look, this isn't just some random event. This is a direct result of the way things are.
It's a reminder that historical events are not just abstract concepts, but they're the result of real people grappling with real issues.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the Marquis Saint-Evremond.
Oh, yes, the Marquis.
Who embodies the callous indifference of the aristocracy. I mean, that scene where he runs over a child and shows absolutely no remorse. It's chilling.
It is.
It speaks volumes about the disconnect between the ruling class and the suffering of the people.
It makes you wonder, how could anyone be so blind to the needs of others?
And yet, amidst this darkness, we also see flickers of hope and resilience. The mender of roads, for example, starts as a simple worker, but transforms into a symbol of the common people's rising anger and their desire for change.
It's like he embodies that, saying, the people united will never be defeated.
Exactly. And his transformation foreshadows the coming storm, the eruption of the French Revolution, and all the chaos and violence that will inevitably follow.
Yeah, Dickens doesn't just focus on this grand sweep of revolution.
No, he doesn't.
But he also zooms in on the lives of ordinary people who are caught in the crossfire.
He does.
Like take Tellson's Bank, for instance.
Tellson's Bank.
Which Dickens describes as the triumphant perfection of inconvenience.
Oh, I love that.
What do you make of this seemingly mundane setting?
Well, I think Tellson's Bank represents the old order. You know, the outdated institutions that are resistant to change. It's a world of tradition and bureaucracy. A stark contrast to the dynamic and unpredictable world of the revolution.
It seems like Dickens is hinting that change, even if it's chaotic and messy, is sometimes necessary for progress.
That's a very astute observation.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's pause here for a moment. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
We've met some intriguing characters.
Yes.
Explored the social and political landscape of the story. And encountered themes of resurrection secrecy and the simmering tension of impending revolution.
It's just the beginning.
But this is just the beginning. Join us for part 2, where we'll witness the full force of the revolution as it engulfs the lives of our characters and explore the profound sacrifices they're forced to make.
I can't wait.
Me neither.
And as we move deeper into A Tale of Two Cities, the revolution's impact on everyday life becomes even more apparent. I mean, think about Miss Pross. Trying to navigate the chaotic streets of Paris, you know, carefully avoiding any suspicious gatherings. It's a world away from the peaceful life she and Lucy had in London.
It's almost like she's walking a tightrope. One wrong step could have devastating consequences.
It could.
And then there's that chilling image of the blacksmiths.
This is a blacksmith.
Working on barges in the misty river.
Oh,
Forging guns for the Republic.
It's a constant reminder that violence is simmering just beneath the surface.
It is.
And it's in this atmosphere of fear and suspicion that Miss Pross has this unexpected encounter with her brother Solomon.
Her brother. I thought he was dead.
She did too. But here he is completely changed. He's now a cold, calculating official of the Republic.
Wow.
And he barely even acknowledges her.
Oh, wow.
He just warns her to stay away and disappears back into the shadows.
That's a chilling reunion.
It is.
It makes you wonder how the revolution can transform even the closest of bonds.
It really does. And then the plot thickens even more when Sidney Carton arrives.
Sidney Carton?
Yes. And he recognizes Solomon as John Barsad, a spy he encountered back in England during Darnay's trial.
So it's like Dickens is peeling back the layers of a complex onion here,
revealing
hidden connections,
right,
and a web of intrigue that spans both England and France.
It turns out Barsad is a double agent.
Wow, a double agent.
Playing a dangerous game of deception.
Oh, wow.
And Carton, in his own way,
Yeah.
is also playing a risky game.
Okay.
He blackmails Barsad.
He does?
Using his knowledge of the spy's true identity to gain access to the prison where Darnay is being held.
It's a high-stakes gamble.
It is.
And you can't help but wonder what Carton's ultimate goal is.
Right.
Is he truly trying to help Darnay? Or is he driven by some deeper, more self-destructive impulse?
It's a question that keeps us guessing, but while all this is happening, the revolution is spiraling further out of control.
Right.
The reign of terror is in full swing.
Okay.
And even someone like Dr. Manette,
Yeah.
who was initially protected because of his past as a Bastille prisoner,
Right.
even he's starting to feel the pressure.
Oh.
Remember, he's summoned to the prison by these two men who bring him to this young woman on the verge of death.
This is where Dickens introduces a story within a story.
He does.
The tragic tale of this young woman and her brother,
Right.
victims of the Marquis Saint-Evremond's cruelty.
It's brutal.
It is.
It's a brutal reminder of the injustices that fueled the revolution.
Right.
And the deep-seated hatred for the aristocracy.
It makes me think about how personal vendettas can become entangled with larger political movements.
And it's not just a side story.
Right.
It's intricately woven into the main plot.
Okay.
The dying woman reveals a secret that implicates Darnay and his family,
Oh, no.
putting him in even greater danger.
Wow.
And Dr. Manette, who had worked so hard to rebuild his life and find peace,
Right.
is now forced to confront the ghosts of his past.
It's like the past is a shadow that can never truly be escaped,
He can't.
especially in a time of upheaval and revolution.
Especially then.
And amidst all of this, Lucy remains blissfully unaware of the peril her husband is in.
Yeah.
She's still clinging to hope, you know, dreaming of a future where they can all be reunited and find peace.
It's a poignant juxtaposition.
It is.
Her innocence and optimism against the backdrop of escalating violence and despair.
And even Mr. Lorry.
Mr. Lorry.
Yeah, who's usually so level-headed and practical.
Yeah.
He's starting to unravel under the strain.
He is.
He's torn between his loyalty to Tellson's Bank
Yeah.
and his deep concern for the Manettes.
It seems like Dickens is showing us how the revolution is tearing apart the fabric of society,
Right.
fraying even the strongest of human bonds.
Yeah, and then we reach this incredibly tense scene
Yeah.
where Darnay is finally put on trial.
The trial.
The courtroom is a chaotic spectacle,
It is.
filled with these bloodthirsty revolutionaries
Yeah.
who are just eager to see another aristocrat condemned.
It's a chilling depiction of mob mentality.
It is.
The crowd is like a ravenous beast, hungry for vengeance, not justice.
And in this frenzy, Darnay's only hope seems to rest with Dr. Manette,
Dr. Manette.
who sits silently on the jury.
Right.
His past as a Bastille prisoner giving him a unique kind of authority.
It's a gripping scene.
It is.
Full of suspense.
Yeah, we know Darnay is innocent,
We do.
but the evidence against him, carefully orchestrated by the Defarges, seems insurmountable.
It does.
It's as if the revolution has its own twisted sense of justice,
It does.
where guilt and innocence are irrelevant.
Right.
And just when all hope seems lost, Dr. Manette produces a letter.
A letter.
Yeah, that dramatically changes the course of the trial.
What do you think Dickens is trying to convey by introducing this element of surprise?
It feels like a reminder that even in the darkest of times, unexpected twists of fate can occur.
It does.
You know, it also highlights the enduring power of hope and the importance of never giving up, even when the odds are stacked against you. That letter really is a game changer.
It is.
It reveals a whole new layer to the story.
It does.
This connection between Darnay's family and the very people he was trying to help.
And it speaks to Dr. Manette's cunning, you know,
Right.
his unwavering determination to save his daughter's husband.
Yeah.
I mean, the letter reveals that Gabelle, the servant Darnay tried to help, was imprisoned because of accusations made by the Evremond family.
Oh, wow.
So by surrendering himself,
Right.
Darnay actually cleared Gabelle's name.
It's like Dickens is saying that even in the midst of a revolution,
Yeah.
acts of compassion can have these unforeseen consequences.
They can.
But it's also a reminder that the past can come back to haunt us in unexpected ways.
Absolutely. And while the letter secures Darnay's acquittal,
Yeah.
Dickens doesn't let us forget the brutal reality of the revolution.
Right.
I mean, just moments after Darnay's release, 5 other innocent people are condemned to death.
Oh, wow.
It's a stark reminder that justice is a fleeting concept in this world, consumed by chaos.
It's a gut punch for sure.
It is.
And it sets up this sense of impending doom,
Oh, yeah.
Because you know that the Defarges aren't going to let Darnay escape their vengeance.
No, they're not.
I mean, their thirst for revenge runs deep.
It does.
And that's where the real tragedy unfolds.
It does.
Darnay, driven by this sense of duty and loyalty,
Right.
decides to return to Paris to try and save Gabelle from the clutches of the revolution.
He does.
It's a noble gesture.
It is.
But ultimately a fatal one.
It is. He's walking right into the lion's den.
He is.
It's like he's almost drawn to his own destruction.
The Defarges have been patiently weaving their web of revenge.
They have.
And Darnay unwittingly becomes their prey.
Yeah, and his imprisonment in La Force.
Right.
And later, the conciergerie marks a turning point in the story.
Oh.
We see the revolution tightening its grip. Its shadow falling over everything.
The prison itself almost becomes a character, doesn't it?
It does.
It's this dark, oppressive symbol of the revolution's insatiable thirst for blood.
Yes.
It makes you think about how easily the lines between good and evil can become blurred during times of turmoil.
You're right. Dickens masterfully portrays the dehumanizing effects of the revolution.
He does.
Individuals are reduced to mere numbers.
Right.
Their lives and stories swallowed up by the mob.
Yeah, and even the prisoners surrounded by death and despair.
Yeah.
They develop this strange detachment.
They do.
A way of coping with the unimaginable.
It's a sobering reminder of how easily we can lose our humanity in the face of fear and violence.
It is. And then out of this darkness, Sidney Carton emerges as a truly unexpected hero.
Carton's transformation is perhaps one of the most powerful and moving aspects of the story.
It really is.
He sees Darnay's fate.
Right.
And knows that Lucy and her family will be destroyed if Darnay is executed.
Yeah.
So he devises this incredibly audacious plan, a plan that demands the ultimate sacrifice.
It's a plan that only someone like Carton could even conceive of.
Right.
Someone who has seen the depths of despair and has nothing left to lose.
Yeah, he uses his resemblance to Darnay to switch places with him in prison.
He does.
Essentially condemning himself to death to save the man Lucy loves.
It's a moment of pure selflessness.
It is.
A testament to the enduring power of love and redemption.
Yes. Carton, who has spent his life in this haze of cynicism and self-pity,
right,
finally finds a purpose.
Okay.
A reason to believe in something greater than himself.
And that final scene, as Carton and the seamstress ascend the steps to the guillotine,
yeah,
it's both heartbreaking and strangely uplifting.
It is.
His famous last words.
It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done.
Yes.
It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known.
They resonate with this profound sense of peace and sacrifice.
They do. It's an unforgettable ending.
It is.
One that stays with you long after you finish the book.
It does.
It leaves you contemplating the meaning of true love, the nature of sacrifice, and the possibility of redemption, even in the face of unimaginable darkness.
A Tale of Two Cities really is more than just a historical novel.
It is.
It's a story that speaks to the very core of the human experience.
Yeah.
Our capacity for love and hate, hope and despair, sacrifice and redemption.
It asks us, what would we do in the face of similar circumstances?
Right. What hidden strengths might we discover within ourselves?
It's a powerful message that transcends time and place.
It does.
Reminding us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure and even find a way to triumph.
If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to experience A Tale of Two Cities for yourself. It's a journey that will stay with you long after you turn the final page.
It will.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.